Wednesdays with English with a twist, otherwise known as Wednesdays with EWAT. How's everyone doing? This is Shanti Kumaraswamy Street, your business English coach trainer. How's everyone? I hope we've started. I'm not too sure whether I'm going live. I've got to see whether people are going to start coming in. Yes, we are live. That is always good. Hello, Keiko. Lovely to see you. And Zita. Superb. Listen, welcome. Wednesday, the 12th of July, 2017. This is lesson 30. So I think we should sing to each other with a little happy birthday. Important milestone here. Yet another milestone episode of Wednesdays with EWAT. Hey, as you're coming in, as always, I like to do the meet and greet. Say where you're from, what time it is with you. And I can see Dan has joined. Bonnie, hello. And Rosie has joined. Hello, student. She's saying hello, teacher, you see. Sumish, hi. My regulars are coming in. You know, I'm always very, very thankful, very honored that you make the time and effort to come in. So as I say, lesson 30. Gosh, you know, who would have thought we would have got to lesson 30 of Wednesdays with EWAT? So this is clearly something that you all enjoy, for which I thank you. So how's it going, everyone? You will most probably have noticed on my Facebook page that I shared a typical British summer morning. So it was raining this morning, so it was horrible. Let me see. So Zita, it is 5 o'clock in Romania, so you're 2 hours ahead of London. And Vun, it is 10 o'clock with you, and if I remember correctly, you're in Malaysia. Margarita, hi, hello from Portugal. Hello Portugal, not from Portugal. So hello from London. Okay, I'm getting my prepositions all in a bit of a muddle. Gabriela, lovely to see you again from Argentina. It's so lovely here to see all my regular EWATers. And great to have you here. Now, don't forget, guys, that if you haven't done so, I do know some of you have already subscribed and joined the community of EWATers. But don't forget to join so you can get not only access to these lessons, but also all the other lessons I offer through my blog, through the YouTube library of business idioms and coffee to go. And join my EWAT community by signing up. So straight after this lesson, or if you want to just pause, have a look, and it's on your, I think, when you're looking at the Facebook page, it's going to be on your left, and it says sign up. So sign up and you will automatically get my blog posts, which are a mixture of reading and audio blogs, and together with Wednesdays with EWAT, and also the YouTube library, and most importantly, of course, it's my e-guide on how the 10 tips on how you can communicate like a pro immediately. So Sok, hi. Pranjal, hi. What is the focus point? Pranjal, don't you look at my Facebook page? Don't you see? Why don't you other guys have tell Pranjal what today's lesson's all about? So lesson 30, what are we talking about today, guys? We are talking about confusing words in business and also in our normal lives. Confusing English words that often confuse not just learners of English, but also proficient users of English. Sometimes when you're writing, sometimes when you're using them, you're not too sure about which word is the correct word to use. Now, if you remember last week's class, I did ask you to contribute to this. Now, not everyone contributed, but I am very thankful to two people, namely Gabriela, who very kindly shared, I think she shared 8 pairs of words. Sorry, 4 pairs of words, so 8 words in total, and also Sheila. So we're going to be sharing those to unlock that mystery of those words, and I've also then added a number of other words that I think would be helpful for you. Hi Estella, hi Osama, hi Rosa. I'm so glad that people are coming in and sharing. Let me refresh my Facebook page like I always do to see who's coming, so that I can also share and engage with you, interact with you on the chat box. So don't forget, always interact with me on the chat box. This is what it's all about. So we're 3 o'clock in the UK. It was a very drizzly morning, but now I'm beginning to see pockets of blue sky, so I don't think I'll have any excuse to not go for my run later. But let me just have a look at, it's telling me here, yes, everyone who's joining. Sock, yes, I said hello. So many people. Jason, thank you so much for sharing my video. It's always lovely when people share my video with their friends and colleagues and co-workers, because sharing is caring. The more we share, and if you think that this lesson is useful, or if you even think that becoming part of the EWAT community would help your co-workers, your colleagues and friends, then please share the word. The better, the more people join, the better for everyone. Right, let's start, everyone. So we've done the meet and greet. You're telling me where you're from, where you are, what time it is. So you're either in the middle of the day, starting out like Dan is in Austin at 9 a.m., or you're coming up to the end of the day like Vun in Malaysia, where it's 10 o'clock at night. So, you know, you're getting tired now, and it's beginning to, you know, energy levels are beginning to dip, and you're starting to think, thinking of, okay, now it's time to have a good night's sleep. So let's have a look at this. Thank you, Rosie, for sharing my video. That's really kind. Let's look at 12 confusing words that hopefully will not be so confusing after this lesson. So again, I want to thank Gabriela and Sheila. Hi Malaga. I bet it's a lot warmer than it is here in London. In fact, in Spain, right, we at the moment as we speak, the Queen of Britain, Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh are welcoming the King and Queen of Spain. So there's a state visit here today and over the next couple of days, I think. And so today there was the procession on the Mall, and they'll be staying at Buckingham Palace. So there's quite a bit of procession and tradition that's going on today as we welcome the King and Queen of Spain. And there are lots of discussions that are going to be going on about post-Brexit and what's going to be happening between Spain and Britain. Jean-Jacques, hello, Canada. Wow, that's the first person I've got from Canada, I think. So maybe, yes, you saw it in the news. Good. Right, pageantry. Yes, good word, Rosie. Thank you. A lot of pageantry. And, you know, here in Britain, they love pageantry. We love that. So we have the horse guards processions. We have the horse and carriages and everyone going down. So we love all that, you know, love pageantry and a lot of tradition and the UK loves. And I think that's what attracts the tourists to London, of course, because a lot of people like to go and see the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. So, you know, that's what we're famous for. The British are famous for. They love all that. But anyway, as we speak, and here I am busy working, my husband is downstairs watching Wimbledon, because of course this is the time for Wimbledon. Wimbledon, the tennis event that is normally the last week of June and the first week of July. So he's downstairs watching it. He's sneaking off work to watch it. But, you know, he works for himself, so I suppose he is allowed if he wants. But so these are the 2 weeks where I'm not allowed to talk to him too much because he's fixed to the television screen. He doesn't necessarily go to Wimbledon, but he'll watch it. At the moment, Andy Murray is playing, so he's watching that. Our dog Buster is not so interested. In fact, I shared a post on my Facebook to show you where he was not interested at all. Okay, that's enough small talk. Let's get down to business, people, because you're busy. Some of you want to go to bed. Some of you have to start your working day, and some of you have to go back to work. Okay, let's look at some pairs of words that often confuse not only, as I say, learners, but also proficient users of English. So, first up, Gabriela asked me the difference between canvas and canvas. Okay, you heard that right. I just pronounced the words canvas and canvas. Where's the difference, Shanti? I know. First of all, two homophones. What are homophones? Two words that sound the same but are actually written slightly differently. So first word is canvas, spelt C-A-N-V-A-S. So let's write it down. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to write it down in the chat box. So we're looking at the first pair of words as canvas versus canvas. Can anyone tell me, first of all, the difference between those two words? Yes, Keiko. Canvas and canvas with two S's. So one is what? The first one is a noun in English. When we think about the parts of speech, it's a noun. And what does canvas mean? So canvas is where we look at, I'm going to ask you first, guys, whilst I have a sip of water. Where would you find a canvas? A canvas you would find probably with an artist. An artist can draw on canvas. Yes, so that first word with the one S is canvas, a noun where you have a piece and people can, an artist would paint on canvas. So it's a material that we use for art. Now canvas with two S's is a verb. Yes, so Pranjal has just said canvassing with two S's. Now what do we do? What do we mean by canvassing? When we canvass, we are asking people to do something, and normally we talk about canvassing for votes. So often you'll see that in elections, when you're canvassing for people's votes. So you go around and you canvass for their votes. Yes, similar to campaigning. Exactly, Pranjal, you're absolutely right. So canvassing with the two S's is the verb, and it means to canvass for votes. The canvas with one S is a noun, and it refers to the material that artists use to paint on. So you can have a canvas. Sometimes we've also used it as a metaphor and an idiom to mean it's a blank canvas. So blank canvas can be where we talk about you're a blank canvas. So anything is possible. You can draw on it. Your ideas, your brain is like a blank canvas. Anything is possible. So that's one of the things. But we're talking about that material. So here the difference is canvas with two S's, meaning the verb to canvas for votes, and the other one is the material for artists. I hope that's clear. Please give me a thumbs up if it is. Great stuff. Always glad to know when you understand what I mean when I'm thinking about it. All right, great. Okay. The insurance agents canvas. What do they canvas for? So maybe they go canvassing, but normally we're talking about votes, Sumish. So they canvas. Or you could be canvassing for opinions. That's actually very true. So during elections, there will be people who go out, the different parties go to canvass for your opinion. Yeah, so we're canvassing for votes, and so it's asking for. Yeah, they're asking for your opinion. Great. Number 2, another question, another very good point that Gabriela made, which was the difference between diffuse versus diffuse. And again, you are going to tell me, Shanti, they sound the same. And that is correct. Diffuse or diffuse, but spelled very differently. Diffuse, D-E-F-U-S-E, and diffuse, D-I-F-F-U-S-E. Jason, fantastic. So you diffuse a bomb. So unfortunately we live in this world now where bomb bombs are found everywhere, especially when we're talking about war zones, but unfortunately also in areas where terrorists will place bombs. So you have anti-bomb units where they will defuse a bomb. How else can we use the word diffuse? So diffuse as in D-E-F-U-S-E. So we diffuse a bomb, but we can also what? We can also diffuse tension. So what we're doing is to reduce the risk. We're reducing tension. So you walk into a room and there's a lot of tension going on, and you need to diffuse that tension before maybe you start a meeting. So putting it in the context of business, maybe there are a lot of opinions on a particular decision that has to be made, and you walk into a room and you know the tension is high, and you need to try and diffuse it. You need to make it less dangerous. So it comes from that literal meaning of diffusing a bomb. So you imagine that this tension could be very risky, and you need to diffuse that tension. So in business context, we will talk about diffusing tension, and I'm writing that in the chat box. Diffuse tension. The other word to diffuse, which is D-I-F-F-U-S-E. Yes, Osama, decreasing the pressure, decreasing that the pressure and the anger that is going on around with people. Now with diffuse, it's interesting. I've seen people say to me, scatter. I had a number of other people talk about scatter. It's to spread, to diffuse. You're sort of maybe diffusing goodwill. You're diffusing good news. So you're spreading the good news. So diffuse in the other word meaning to spread. So how can we use that? To diffuse good news, to diffuse information. That's what we're doing. We're spreading that information. We're sharing it. But it's more to do with spreading. Yes, so we can diffuse information, good news, and I'm writing all this down for you. Good news. What else can you diffuse? Share with me, please, in the chat box. Diffuse information, good news. I think I saw some other diffuse information, diffuse good news. What else can we diffuse? So although they sound the same, it depends on your context and how you write it then. They needed to diffuse the tension. They needed to reduce the tension, reduce the risk. Yes, the risk of anger, of people getting angry, so that's what you have to say. Diffuse awareness, diffuse ideas, diffuse awareness. Interesting. I see what you mean there, Jason. To diffuse awareness, we need to diffuse awareness. Yes, as a collocation, it doesn't sound so natural, but the meaning is correct. Yes, diffuse ideas, spread ideas. Yes, it's interesting because when you think about it, yeah, okay, so spread, and this is where the difference comes to what naturally you would hear in English and what it's a bit unnatural. You could use it, it's not incorrect grammatically and vocabulary wise. You're not likely to hear it that much. So, what I'd like you to see, how you can become to see whether it's used naturally, is the more you read, the more you listen to notice where it is being used and how it's being used. But yes, you can diffuse awareness, you can diffuse ideas, diffuse information. Where it's more regularly used and more naturally is diffuse information and diffuse news. But a good advanced learner's dictionary give you a lot of this added information. So I always, can we diffuse a project? No, we can't, Rosa Maria. It's not, you don't diffuse a project, because how can you spread a project if you think about that? So actually, no, it doesn't sound natural in English. So you're spreading information. And a good advanced learner's dictionary. Now, I always advise my clients to buy an advanced learner's dictionary. If you don't want the sort of hard copy, you can get it online and have a look at how that language is used. So you might not be an advanced learner of English, but advanced learner language, monolingual dictionary will give you a lot of information like this. Okay, so that is diffuse and diffuse. Yeah, I know, it sounds strange, doesn't it? The third pair of words, again thanks to Gabriela, is flaunt versus flout. So luckily here we have two different sounding words. Flaunt, spelled F-L-A-U-N-T, versus flout. Nice one. Thank you, Gabriela, for that. I like that when you shared it with us. Flaunt, flout. So hear the sound. Flaunt, flout. What do we mean when we flaunt? Oh, look at her. She's just walked in. She's flaunting herself. You know, oh, he loves to flaunt his good English. Oh, he loves to flaunt the fact that he knows, you know, so and so from that, you know, from the ministry, or so and so from that company. Always flaunting. What does he mean? What do we mean by when you flaunt? When you flaunt means what? Showing off, Ramon. Excellent. You show off. When you flaunt your knowledge, you flaunt who you know. Yes, you're bragging. Nice synonym, Keiko. Excellent. You're showing off. You're bragging. Exactly. When you're flaunting. Yeah, excellent. So you flaunt. And flaunting his money, Rosie, exactly. When you flaunt your money, you flaunt your wealth. Oh, you know, the other day I went to, you know, this wonderful place. I mean, you know, we just love dining at that wonderful restaurant. 4-star, 5-star. Flaunt doesn't mean to presume. Flaunt means to show off, Gabriela. So you're not presuming. You're flaunting. You're showing off. So you're boasting. Yes. You know, I went to this wonderful restaurant. 5-star Michelin. You know, it was wonderful. We always love to lunch there or dine there. And you think, yeah, all right, shut up. You know, do you mind? Don't flaunt the fact that you earn a lot of money, or that you have 5 million followers on YouTube, or that, you know, you just think no one likes a show off. We like people to be more modest. So don't flaunt it. So don't flaunt. Now, flout, by contrast, no, it wasn't, yes, it was a mistake, Gabriela, purely because maybe you got confused. But flaunt is to show off, bragging and showing off. Flouting, what does flouting mean by contrast? If you flout. Now, some people like to flout the rules. What does it mean when you flout the rules? You flout the laws. What do you mean? What do we mean by flouting the rules? What are you doing? Flouting the rules, flouting the laws. And I've put that in the chat box. What do you mean? Do we flout the rules? Yeah, they like to do business, but they're always flouting the rules. They disregard the rules. Good, Rosie. Yes, yeah, so they disregard. They break the rules. They break. Yeah, is it actually breaking the rules? They flout the rules. It's a tricky one, that one. Because is it actually breaking? Breaking the law, Ramon? Yes, they flout the rules, they flout the law. We don't really say flout the law. We talk about flouting rules. So it actually, we disobey. Yes, not to follow the rules. We flout the rules, we disobey the rules. We ignore the rules. Faisal, excellent, yes. You don't follow them. but it's not breaking the law. Breaking the law is a lot harder. Breaking the law is more serious than disobeying the rules. So for example, if you belong to a club and the club says you need to wear certain clothes, or you need to do things in a certain way, and you flout the rules, you disobey the rules, but you deliberately do that. Now, he's always flouting the rules. You know, the rule is for all of us, but he's forever flouting them. Yeah, so he disobeys them. But it's not super serious, like breaking the law. So it depends on your context. You could be rebellious, yes. But it could be, but you know, it depends on the context. Because if you're in a business context and well, it depends whether you're not forced to follow it. Perhaps rules are not enforceable. You know, some clubs, some businesses will set some rules. They tell us this is what we do. But sometimes you openly flout the rules. You know, so say for example, they say there's a no smoking policy here, there's a no smoking rule, but you regularly smoke. So you openly flout the rules. So yes, you're rebelling. Yes, you are challenging the establishment, or you're challenging them. So there's a rule. Now it depends whether that rule is enforceable. There could be a rule, but what happens if I break that rule? So maybe you're challenging them. Maybe there's no way of enforcing it. Breaking the law is different, because there's a law, and so now there could be enforcing that law. So that's how we use it. So flouting a rule tends to be more to do with maybe club rules, or society rules, or you know, organizational rules. So that's how we would see that. Rosie is saying Italians invented that word. Okay, so there's a rule and we're going to flout it, because if there's a rule there, we need to disobey it. We're not going to follow it. You're not forced to follow it. Not necessarily, yes. Some people would say you should, but yes, you're not forced to. Great, guys. So flaunt, show off, flout, openly disobey a rule. Very different words completely. Yeah, but you're going to flaunt it. Okay, now the next set of words, again thanks to Gabriella, and one where we actually had, Gabriella, you're saying, I think it refers more to regulations than laws. Yes, rules and regulations. You're quite right, Gabriella. And again, I'd like you, where you see it, have a look at the context of when we use them, and then you get to see them. But a lot of it is trial and error. You know, you try to see it and you think, did I get that right? Is that what I mean? Yeah, and then you get the feel of how the words are used. Next ones, Gabriella, thank you again. You offered us two words, which I did talk about in, I think it was the last or two episodes referring to confusing words, which is discrete and discreet. So again, two homophones, and you would be very, it's very understandable that you get confused with this. So two words spelled differently, but they sound the same. Discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E, versus discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-E-T. So let's look at the first one, D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E. What does it mean? Folks, anyone? My fellow EWATers? Anyone know what that means? So we look at discrete quarters. You're looking at sales figures, you're looking at a graph. We need to look at the discrete quarters. We need to look at the discrete parts. What are we talking about? Oh, Voon, you're saying one of it means silent. Okay. Okay, let's see. Interesting. Discrete, the first one, with a E-T-E, spelled D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E. So we need to look at the discrete parts. We need to take this in discrete. So what do they mean? Discrete, S-C-R-E-T-E. Yes, actually, not, Gabriella, is not to decipher. Discrete is actually an adjective. So we're talking about separate. Jason, quite right. Not separated, but separate. So discrete is an adjective in English, spelled E-T-E, just like discrete, the other word. But in this case, it's separate. So we're looking at discrete parts, separate parts. So when we look at it, we need to look at things that are discrete. Say, imagine you're in a business. So we need to observe. I'm giving you an example here. Observe the discrete parts of the performance. We often use them in sales, investment management. When I was in investment management, we would look at the discrete parts to calculate how performance had done in the discrete periods, the separate periods. Yeah, so that is what we mean when we spell it E-T-E. Now, by contrast, discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-E-T. Interesting. Now, when you are discrete, it's not silent, Vun, like you suggested. It is being careful, not bringing attention to yourself. If you're discrete, you are careful. Deepa, no, discrete doesn't mean in depth. Deepa, it means separate. Yeah. Discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-E-T, means when you're careful. So for example, we kept a discrete silence. You kept a discrete silence. So for example, imagine you are in a meeting and there's a lot of tension, a lot of people discussing, sharing opinions, and they are very, very worried, and you know, people are very vocal with their opinions, and you have an opinion that you think would make things even worse. So you keep a discrete silence. You keep a careful silence. You decide not to say anything because you do not want people to make things worse. I'm just going to stop here because Deepa is saying discrete, your bad notions in midst of good. No, discrete is an adjective. It is not a verb, Deepa. So discrete would be used with a noun. Yeah, you keep something discrete, but it's spelled C-R-E-E-T, not E-T-E. E-T-E are separate. So discrete periods, discrete parts. So you're using them incorrectly in that situation. Humble, not necessarily. Yes, I understand what you mean, Ramon. Not necessarily that you're being humble or modest. You're just being careful and perhaps clever. When you keep a discrete distance or a discrete, I'm going to keep a discrete distance. So for example, if you are in a group where maybe there are some important people, and you want maybe the key figures in a conversation to talk to them amongst themselves, and you might keep a discrete distance. So you're a bit careful. You move away from that. And also discrete means not drawing attention to yourself. You are discrete. You are the opposite of being a show-off. I think someone said you are the opposite of being a show-off. So you're not flaunting it, you're being discreet. So some people are like that, So for example, we talk about some business partnerships or even, fellow partnerships. I've already written that, Tatiana. So it's discreet, discreet. So discreet is spelt this way when you are not when you are careful. Yeah. So for example, when we talk about partnerships, maybe husband and wife partnerships, we talk about Yes, Rosie, absolutely. Let's talk about Donald Trump. He is the opposite of being discreet. He is not careful about what he says. Yes, so what is the opposite of discreet? Indiscreet. He is indiscreet. And so if we look at taking the noun of discreet, it would be discretion. Discretion versus indiscretion. And that is what the noun of indiscreet and discreet is. So to be discreet, he's indiscreet. He is just terrible. You know, discretion is not a strength, yeah? Or you're very indiscreet. Now, most companies, if you're applying for a job, they want discretion. They want you to be discreet, to know when to keep your mouth closed and not say anything. So that's what we mean. Right, so thank you very much, Gabriela, for asking you know, to clarify those two, and I hope that sort of has clarified that. So the next words I've decided to, no, this is the next one that another EWATer shared, which was finish and complete. The difference between finish and complete. And I thank you for that, Sheila, and I don't know whether Sheila's here in today's class because she hasn't sort of said hello yet. But finish versus complete. Now we're looking at to finish and to complete. So two verbs, okay? So not complete as in the adjective, a complete object or a complete project, but the verbs. Let's look at the difference between finish versus complete. So, and now you look at it, and it was an interesting one. Thank you for that, because I actually had to look it up myself. So it also does confuse proficient users of English, because you look at it and think, yes, I can't see quite the difference, because you finish a project, you complete a project. Where's the difference? Good, Deepa. So you finish your homework. Very nice. So you finished your homework. Now, have you actually completed your studies? So imagine, so we do homework. So say, for example, you're studying for a degree. You're studying for a master's. You're studying for a business course. And during that course, you have a number of tasks to do, like homework, like Deepa says. Yes, Jay said finish means bringing something to an end. Yes, but where's the difference? Here it is. So you finish a task. So during that course, you have to finish a number of tasks or a number of units in a course. But you haven't necessarily, so you finish the unit. So I finished 3 units in my course, but you haven't completed the course yet. The completion will be the whole thing. So I completed my PhD in, in 2012. But you also finished it. But complete means the whole thing. You're taking the whole thing together. So you completed a project. Maybe you have a project to do and you start the project, but during that course of that project, there are many phases within a project. So you could, and in each phase, you might have completed a phase. So we've completed phase 1 of the project. Now we're starting phase 2. But during phase 1, you had a number of tasks to finish. So I finished this task. Now I've got to start the next task. So finishing is looking at the different tasks. Completing is the whole thing. Exactly, Tatiana. But, they're quite similar, but they can have slightly different meanings in English. So we complete our studies. We complete a course. So I know that I've done it. But within that course, I had different tasks to finish, but also to complete. Yeah, but in between that, there's those bits. So yeah, so how we use it does change. But it is a very, very interesting point that Sheila brought up. And I thank her for that, because it can be a bit confusing as to when we use to complete, and when do we use finish. So complete is I finish my work. I finished my work at the end of the day. It doesn't mean you've completed your work. You know, you finished your work for the day. But have you completed the project or whatever work you've got to do? Not necessarily. For example, I'm working on a new book that is going to be an A to Z of teaching activities for banking and financial English. So today I finished 2 activities, but I haven't completed the work. Not yet. I still have a few more activities to complete. See what I mean? So try using those in the different ways. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up, everyone, if that is good for you. The difference between finish and to complete. Great. Superb. Oh, good. Thank you. Great. I'm not seeing many thumbs up. Anyone giving me a thumbs up? Excellent. Good job, guys. Thank you. So that's finish and complete. Now, how many have we done now? We've done canvas, diffuse, flaunt, flout, discrete, discreet, finish. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5. We right? Okay. Next words. Oh, I'm loving the thumbs up. Oh, this is good to know, everyone. Thank you so much for your interaction, participation. Brilliant. The next 2 words we're looking at is elicit and illicit. Slight difference in pronunciation. So here are the words. I'm writing them in the chat box. So look out in the chat box. Elicit and illicit. 2 words. Elicit, illicit. The first word with an E is a verb. And the second word is an adjective in English. So elicit, what do I mean? To obtain. For example, what, Jason? What are we going to obtain? I'm going to elicit what from you? Am I eliciting money? Ramon, good. Thank you. Illicit is not legal or illegal. So illicit is to obtain. For example, what? What am I going to elicit? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Give me a bit more than that, because that doesn't tell me much. What do I want to get from you? Money? Am I eliciting money? Or am I maybe eliciting information? Maybe not to point out, Ramon, not quite. To elicit, I'm going to elicit feedback from you. I'm going to elicit information. I want to elicit a reaction from you. So maybe I walk into the room and I say something, you know, the project is rubbish, or I think that all women should stay at home and not work. What am I doing? I'm eliciting a reaction. I want to see what you're going to say. So you elicit, you get, you're trying to get. You're not demanding, you're trying to get you're provoking. Great. Eliciting is provoking. Rosa Maria, thanks. Thanks so much. Bye. I know you have to go. Take care. So it's eliciting is getting a reaction from someone. Illicit, I-double-L-I-C-I-T, is of course illegal. What is illicit? It could be illicit, an illicit affair, an illicit trade. So it means illegal. One should not elicit towards illicit. Deepa, not quite. Not quite. You're eliciting a response. You're eliciting a reaction, but you are not eliciting illicit bribery. No. You're using to obtain something, yes. When you're eliciting, you're trying to elicit feedback. For example, teachers, what I will do sometimes when I want to elicit feedback from you is I will ask you. So I'm eliciting information from you. I will ask you, what do you think? So what I'm doing here is eliciting your feedback. So that's the 2 difference, elicit, illicit. Next one is to quash versus squash. Okay, so quash versus squash. Wow, quash versus squash. What do I mean? And so sometimes people will sort of say quash and squash. Now, what do we talk about when we talk about quash? Both are verbs. To quash. If I'm going to quash, we often see this in some countries. If there's been a lot of let's see, disagreement. There's a lot of disagreement. Maybe you don't agree with the board, you don't agree with the government, you don't, you know, and so you disagree with them, and what will happen is if they don't want to hear your disagreement, they will quash your disagreement. They will quash any riots. So often we talk about quashing riots and disagreement. Yeah, so that's what we are talking about, quashing riots. And yes, Gabrielle, squash as a noun is a sport, but we're talking about the verb. To quash is to repress. Yes, yes, that's right, Rosie, exactly. To quash is to stop it. It's to repress, and it's also a form of repression, so it's to stop with force. So if a government doesn't like people to demonstrate, they will quash demonstrators, they will quash protests, they will quash any disagreement. No, they won't break out the riots, they will stop the riots, they will quash the riots. Yeah, they won't break out. It's slightly different from the phrasal verb. So you'll break a riot, you will stop it. The other word that we use with quash is to quash rumors. So for example, if there are a lot of rumors going about in business, and then you will come out and make a statement, for example, and quash rumors. At the moment, you know, you hear a lot about Donald Trump and what's going on with the Russian, you know, involvement. So often they'll come out to quash the rumors. I want to quash the rumors. There's nothing. You're stopping it from continuing. Yeah, so you're going to quash. Squash, by contrast, when you squash something, is you damage it by squashing it. Yeah, so that's literally, yeah, so, you know, maybe there's not a lot of space, and you sit down, and then someone comes and sits next to you, and they squash you into your space, and you think, oh my God. And you think, oh God, he squashed me into my seat. Or you squash somebody, you know, you squash something. Or maybe you see an ant walking along, or an insect, and you don't like it, so you squash it, you damage it. So that's really hard. So you don't squash rumors and squash writers, you quash them. You quash the disagreement. So sometimes that causes confusion. Okay, so that's another word. Very good. Excellent. So I am thinking I'm going to have to start moving on, aren't I? So the next words are underserved and squash. So Gabrielle is saying, is squash similar to smash? Yeah, you could say that. Although smash has a harder feeling. Gosh, yeah, smash, squash, yes, good. Yeah, sometimes it's very satisfying when you squash. Yes. The next two words are underserved versus undeserved. Yes, so sometimes that can be misspelled. Underserved and undeserved. Now, underserved, let's look at it in business terms and in terms of market economics. Sometimes we talk about a market that is underserved. So, for example, that could be a demographic, that could be a group of people that where we do not sell our products to. So they are a market that is underserved. We're not looking after them. We are not offering them the products that they should have. By contrast, undeserved means when you do not deserve something, you do not merit it. You know, his pay rise is undeserved. He did nothing to earn that. So it's undeserved. He didn't do anything to deserve his reward. No, it's not to fail to meet customers' needs. No, you're underserving someone is you're not. Oh, well, actually, maybe you're right, Keiko. It is not, you're failing to meet their needs, so therefore you're not serving their needs. So it is an underserved group in the market. Absolutely, that could be right. Yes, so there you go. Underserved and undeserved. Undeserved is easiest because you don't deserve it, and you don't think they should have maybe been given the rewards they were given. So, but that can be sometimes when we write it, we can we can confuse those two words. The next two set of words is imply and infer. So to imply versus infer. Now this is a tricky one also for proficient users of English. Imply and infer. So if I imply something, means I am suggesting it indirectly. So maybe you make a suggestion in a meeting, and you say, perhaps we should do this. So are you implying that this is what we should do? You're not coming out directly with it, but that's what you're implying. Yeah, so yeah, I am implying this, yes. So you're implying, you think, okay, I suggest indirectly. Yeah, you don't say it outright, but you in a very diplomatic, in an indirect way, you suggest something. Infer is when someone says something and you conclude, you draw a conclusion from what they've said. No, it's not taking for granted, Ramon. You imply is, when you imply something, you're saying, well, I think we should do this. And you're saying, are you implying that this is what we should do? But you haven't said it directly. So then you're saying, well, yes, I am. Inferring is you say something and someone else interprets what you've said. They draw a conclusion. They make a conclusion from what you've said. So the inference is that you've said this. Yes, it could be right, it could be wrong. So that's the difference. You're drawing a conclusion with inferring, but with implying, you are suggesting indirectly. So those are the two differences. It's a bit tricky. It's a bit, it's difficult. But when I infer something, someone says something and I am drawing a conclusion from what they've said. If you are implying, the action is from you because you're saying something, but you've not said it directly. You've said it indirectly. So I'm implying something. But if that's not terribly clear, don't worry. I will probably put together a blog post for that so it makes it a bit clear. Infer means to figure out, to discover. Yes, to draw a conclusion. You're concluding from what they've said. Deduce. Yes, great, Rosie. Excellent. To deduce from what they've said. So you're deducting. I think that's what they meant. Really? Do you think so? Well, yeah, because, they said this. Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah, okay. I think you're right. But you don't know for sure whether that's true or not. Whereas the person who's suggesting indirectly, you could actually be asking them. So I hope I haven't confused you even more. The next set of words are amoral, immoral. Amoral versus immoral. Now, what's amoral? Someone who's amoral means someone who doesn't care whether what they do is right or wrong. They don't have any standards. They don't have moral standards. If you're an amoral person, you don't care if you do right or wrong. You don't see the difference. Immoral is when you don't follow a set of rules, a set of moral standards. What you're doing is immoral. What you're doing is not right. Is not right. But if you're an amoral person, You don't care because you don't care about the difference between right or wrong. But what you could be doing is immoral. So it's wrong. Can you see the difference? So I could be an amoral person. So I don't care whether what I do is immoral or not. So, I wonder whether, yeah, so amoral, someone who doesn't care whether what they do is right or wrong. And something that is immoral, it doesn't follow a set of standards and it's wrong. I hope that kind of makes it clear. So an amoral person doesn't care whether what they do is right or wrong, and an amoral person therefore would happily do something that's immoral. Hi Roberto, nice for you to join us. I'm sorry, we're into the lesson. So, but yes, so that's what we're talking about: amoral, immoral. Have a look at the dictionary, have a look at it, and try and test it and play around with it and see, you know, how it works. So those are the words. Now, another 2 words and we're done, because I realize we're running very, very late today. The other 2 words are loathe and loathe. Loathe versus loathe. Again, again, homophones. And you're going to go, Shanti. Loathe and loathe. Yes, so loathe. I'm loath to do something, and I loathe it. So 2 words, okay? Loathe, loathe. They sound the same. The first one is an adjective, an adverb, and the second is a verb. So if I am loath to do that, you know, could you do that? You know, could you do this, Shanti? I'm loath to do it. Why? Well, because I think that if we do that, we might, you know, we might cause a problem. We might get the reaction, you know, the opposite reaction. So I'm loath to do it. In other words, I am reluctant. I am unwilling to do it. So loath means equals unwilling or reluctant. I'm loath to do it. So don't forget, it's not a verb. It's an adjective. I'm loath to do it. Or an adverb. I'm loath to do it. I'm unwilling to do it. I loathe it with an E at the end is you hate it. I loathe him. But it's a really strong word. It's stronger than hate. So I loathe him with all my soul, with a passion. I loathe him with a passion. Or I loathe maths with a passion. So loathe is to hate. But if you're loath to do something, means you are unwilling or reluctant. So very different. But the difference is adding that E. So if you add the E, that's a verb. You don't have the E, it becomes an adjective or an adverb. And it's what you are willing or unwilling to do. So there you go. And finally, your last pair, you'll be happy to know, is skim and scan. So skim versus scan. Scan, sorry, pardon me, and scam. When do you skim and when do you scan? When you skim something, okay, I want you to just skim through this. What am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to look through something really quickly. So I give you a text and I say, could you just skim through this? Just tell me everything is okay. Does it all look okay to you? Yeah, and you quickly look through it. What are you doing when you're scanning? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, Ramon, skimming is to read quickly. Yeah, to skim through. I'm just going to skim through this. I gave it a quick skim. A quick skim. We can use it as a noun. But if I'm scanning, skimming is actually not examining, Rosie. Because examining has more detail in it. Skimming is giving a quick look at something. Yeah, quick look. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. So you're not looking for detail. Scanning is to look carefully for something. Okay, that's interesting, Angeliki. And welcome to the class. Scanning, you're looking carefully. Is it looking carefully? Or are you actually looking for something? Yes, you could be looking for scanning. So scanning is what? Scanning is you already know what you're looking for, and you're going to scan with your eyes to look for it. So you're not looking, you could be looking carefully, but often what our eyes are doing is scanning for a particular word, or scanning for a picture, or scanning for a detail. Imagine you are at a railway station, and you are looking for, or you're at an airport, and you're looking for your flight. You look on the board. What are you going to be doing? You're going to be scanning. Now, you're not looking terribly carefully, you're scanning. So it's not very carefully, but what are you doing when you're scanning? Scanning is you know what you're looking for, and you are scanning for your flight details. So then you scan and you look for the detail, but you're only looking for a specific detail. Like Angeliki says, you're looking for something in particular. So that's when you scan. Then you can read for detail. But scanning is, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my flight. Quick look, scan, 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 scan. Oh, there it is. So you spot it. But similarly, when you skim, you're just skimming very quickly to make sure something is right. Yeah, I skim. Yeah, I skimmed that. So if you're in a train and I just skimmed very quickly that article. I didn't really read it in detail. No, I was just skimming. But if you're scanning, it's because you're looking for something. So you're scanning. Your eyes are looking for something. So it's a different type of looking. Similarly with listening, we can skim listen. I'm listening, I heard that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the headlines, they did it. But then when you're scanning, you're listening for details. So if you're listening for an announcement, your ears are going to be tuned into certain words. And as soon as you hear them, then your ear zones into it. Means to look thoroughly for something you need in particular. Exactly. So that's the difference. Folks, you, my fellow EWATers, you have been incredibly patient. I think we went through all 12. So let's do a quick recap. We were looking at canvas, one with an S, one without. Diffuse, flaunt, discreet. Lots of homophones today. Elicit, illicit. Finish, complete. Quash, squash. Underserved and undeserved. Imply, infer. Amoral, immoral. Then we are looking at loathe, skim, scan. So there we have it. I think, if I'm right with my maths, that is 12 sets of words. So in total, 24 words we looked at. So that was a really quick, and I know it was an hour long, but a really quick zoom through those 24 words. And I hope they were helpful. I hope that gave you an idea. If you need more information, take a look at a dictionary. As I said, advanced learner dictionaries are always helpful to help you look. But next time, why not, when next time you're reading, have a look and see where they are and how they're used in the English language. And don't forget, knowing also the parts of speech, whether it's a verb or an adjective or a noun, will help you enormously. I want to thank you all so much for having joined this class. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your contribution. And I look forward to seeing you next week for lesson 31. So we'll be meeting up again on the 19th of July. Can you believe it's mid-July already? Wednesdays with EWAT, when we'll be talking about a topic on business English. In the meantime, here's me, Shanti Kumaraswamy Street, your business English trainer, saying ciao for now. Don't forget to sign up and join that EWAT community, folks. You know it makes sense. Come on, to keep you working and keep you motivated, learning every day, bit by bit, and getting you very successful, confident communicators in English. Take care, everyone. Take care, Tatiana. Take care, Marie. Take care, Gabrielle. Thank you so much for sharing with you us all your language. Sheila, Vaughn, take care. Angeliki, Rosie, Roberto, Ramon. Am I missing out anybody? If I am, I do apologize. Dan, Priya, I didn't see Priya today. Jason, thank you so much. You know, all of you, thank you so much. You guys rock. And I am very, very honored that you join me week in, week out. See you next week, folks. Salwa, take care. Ciao for now, guys. See you next week. Bye.